amount of XRP do you need to get rich in a few years? You guys ask me this question all the time, so I chose to do a deep dive analysis today and give you a few different timeframes in which you might be able to turn a certain amount of XRP into millions of dollars. The reason I'm telling you this is that I know most of you want to make a lot of money and be financially free. So I wanted to tell you guys what I really think. I wanted to use advanced tooling systems to do some analysis and breakdown, as well as show you some other cool ways you can use your XRP holdings to make more money. This way, you can make sure that you're continuously earning instead of just holding on to that XRP and letting it sit there while other big whales and large investors use their money to get a lot more bang for their buck. That's why I began by asking Grok a very easy question. What amount of XRP do I need to get rich in the next few years? Now, I asked Grok this question so that it could look at all the different news stations and come up with an answer that is more or less in the middle of all the top news sources that it thinks are trustworthy and full of facts. It's clear that this isn't always right. AI tools like OpenAI were asked in October if XRP could hit $3.00, and the answer was that it would not happen until 2025. It's clear that what AI tools say and what actually happens in the markets are not always the same, and there are many things. I'm going to read what the AI tool says and then tell you what I really think about it. After that, I'll talk about what I think will happen, which, being honest with you, I was a lot more right than the AI tools were in October 2024 and the year before that. Still, let's look at the price predictions for 2025. These are the most conservative figures. Change really did say that XRP would hit 205 to 377. The coin coders said it was between 189 and 251. We've seen some people say it could go as high as $581.00, like Coinpedia. Standard Charter 550 and Egg Rate Cryptos at $17.00. After careful thought, I believe that $17.00 is the most likely price, given the events we can expect this year and the huge liquidity cycle that is about to start. I do believe, though, that many of these other news outlets are skewed and against XRP for some reason, so this is why they're giving very low figures, which I find very interesting. When global liquidity is rising so quickly, and there's a lot of doubt about fiat currency, people almost always dump huge amounts of money into cryptocurrency. We also know that XRP has the clearest rules about regulation of any coin. It's one of the few cryptocurrencies that is currently used to solve problems in the real world. When you think back to the dot-com bubble, compare the companies that did nothing but had huge value to those that did something and offered a service that was of reasonable value. Which ones are still around? I think you guys know the answer to that. You can see this in Google and Amazon. Those were the ones that got through because they were actually giving people something good, and they're still doing that now. Anyway, I believe XRP is in a great spot right now, and I believe the more optimistic predictions are more likely to come true, at least for 2025. That being said, I did say that we're thinking about the next few years, not just a few months. Having said that, I do believe that a more optimistic situation could lead to a price of up to $20.00 this year. I'm sure we'll get more than, say, $5.00 to $10.00 per coin. That's a very likely figure for how much more we'll get. Still, let's talk about XRP. How much do you need this year to reach your goals if we reach $5.00, $10.00, or $20.00? Of course, if we reach $10.00 XRP, you'll only need 100,000 XRP, which I know is a lot for some of you, but it will feel worth it. It would be pretty clear that it was worth it if XRP reached $10.00, which I believe is a very likely outcome. If XRP goes up to $20.00 a coin, you'll only need 50 XRP, right? Again, that might seem very expensive to you now. I think it was just over $100.00. But if you can turn that into more than $1 million, that's pretty cool, right? Actually, that's a gain of about 10 times the price now, which is crazy. That's pretty much what Grok is saying, though. They are telling you that your holdings are worth $1 million, 0 cents, if XRP hits $10, 0 cents by 2027. It's that simple. If it goes up to $5, 0 cents, you'll have $500,000, 0 cents. Grok says that the best way to protect yourself from risk is to buy between $50, 0 cents, and $100, 0 cents worth of XRP. You'll be fine if XRP goes down a little, you know? It's all about how much money you guys have, right? Yes, I agree. I believe that getting $50.00 to $100.00 in XRP is a great long-term goal for lots of people. I know that for many of you, this might not be possible this year, but guys, it is very doable if you can regularly put money into XRP every month. I just thought I'd share this with you to show you how fair it is. The average salary in the US and Canada is about $50.00, right? That's the median pay. So if you split 50 by 12, you get about 166 a month. And let's say that all of your costs add up to say $3,500.00 a month, right? And at the end of each month, you have, oh my, that's a lot of sixes. You have about $600.00, right? After all your costs, you have about $600.00 left to invest, right? That $600.00 a month will add up pretty fast. That's $7.20 a year. If you multiply that by 12, that's what you get for doing that for 5 years. You've put $36.00 into it. You can get more out of this in other ways as well, of course. One example is that you could cut back on your spending and get up to $1.00 a month in XRP. If you do this for a year, then 5 years and so on, you'd have $60.00 in XRP, right? And if the price of XRP goes up 10 times, you could turn that into $600.00. And I think that's a very good chance, especially if you do this during a bear market and start to accumulate XRP in 2027, 2028, or 2029. For example, I think it's easy to get a 10x, which would allow you to turn $60,000.00 into $600.00 in that time. This is a great way to make money all the time. As for me, I believe that everyone who wants to make huge gains should dollar cost average into XRP. Okay, I believe this is an absolute must. Still, I did talk about ways to get more for your money at the beginning of this video, right? That's why there are several ways to do this. I believe the best thing to do is to trade. Do you agree? For example, I hold about 80% of my money in cryptocurrency that I keep putting money into by dollar cost average. After that, I use the last 20% of my crypto to sell. Well, what I do now is option trading, and some months I make 400%, some months it's 80%. And the worst month was probably 60%, but every month it's always between 60% and 400% based on how the markets do. That is still pretty crazy though, right? If you consistently make, say, 100% gains every month, that adds up very fast. Every month, you're pretty much doubling your money. Let's say you have $1.00 to start with. That's 2 times $1.00, right? That's months 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Yes, it does add up very, very, very quickly, right? And it's clear that not every month will be 100%. Some could be 60% and some could be 400%. The truth is, though, that I have helped people change their lives. Some people in my